the stock market is about to crash big time. That's what everyone seems to think anyway. It's what YouTubers are talking about. Anyone that's in the financing niche is talking about a crazy pullback with the stock market. The fear greed index has pulled into the extreme fear range for the first time in quite a while. But is this really going to crash? What am I going to do if it does crash? What am I going to do if it doesn't crash? That's what we're going to talk about in this video with 4 dividend ETFs that I will continue to buy whether or not the market crashes. So I hope you enjoy. So we can see our fear and greed index has now hit extreme fear. It actually was even lower at 19, but it did jump the last couple of minutes. And people are worried. Let's be real. A lot of creators are worried. A lot of investors are worried. A lot of people living off their dividends are worried that a crazy market crash is imminent because of the war with Iran and every other thing that seems to be going on these days, the Epstein list and whatnot. Now, when we look at the VIX, this is the volatility index. And so it's showing that we're not even near high volatility. We're near elevated volatility at about 24 is our range right now. Now, remember back in early 2025, we saw a crazy quick pullback in the market, a couple percentages even across the big indexes over a couple of days. Well, we are nowhere even near that level. We hit 47, which was, as they categorize it, extreme volatility at that point. Even now, the highest point we've gotten to is just under 30. So we are not nearly in as much of a pullback as we saw in early 2025. So that doesn't mean that we have as big of a sale as we did then. What this does mean is this could just be the beginning. We have seen it come back down a little bit. That does not mean that this pattern is going to continue. We could see a crazy spike, especially depending on news. And a lot of stuff involving the market now is news related, unfortunately. So it's not easy to predict. And if you are trying to if you follow any creators that are saying they can predict the market, they cannot. They can guess. And if they guess right, good. You can also guess. If you guess right, good. And so on. Because I have seen a few creators saying, oh, I know it's this, I know it's that. And they just simply don't. So it's really interesting how this concept of the VIX and how volatility and fear in the market are shifting what people are investing in. And so that's why I made this video today, to show you 4 safe investments that I hold. It's my personal opinion. It's not financial advice, no matter what the market is doing. For a number of reasons: price history, the issuer, my overall faith in the strategy that they use to generate income. So we're going to cover all of that in this video. But now let's talk about the pullback that we have seen over the last couple of months with some of the bigger indexes. So we're going to compare 2 ETFs. We have the NASDAQ 100, QQQ, and the S&P 500, SPYI. Looking at the year-to-date chart, so only since 2026 began, we can see SPYI is down 1.9% and the NASDAQ is down 2%, 2.2, which isn't bad whatsoever. Most of this happening in the last couple of months. But from the highs of this year-to-date chart, we can see QQQ is down over 5% and SPYI is down over 4% at this point. Not great. And I know this might look bad, and a lot of people are like, I'm diving in. I'm going to go all in now because it's been a crazy pullback. But let's zoom out a little bit and get some context. At the beginning of 2025, we saw the S&P 500 drop 13.5% and the NASDAQ 100 drop 16%. They were positive 2 and 3%, and then they dropped 11.5% and over 13%. Now, if we zoom out, the bigger picture here too is even on these pullbacks, it would be amazing to have bought in right here. But if you had just simply waited, this still surpassed the last all-time high pretty rapidly. And so that's why I'm not going all in on the market right now. I'm doing what I always do. We're in a dip. I am buying some. I'm not going all in on these ETFs, even though I do trust in them. But I do think we could see a bit more of a pullback. And I also want to mention, we have seen some pullbacks that lasted quite a bit longer, like late 2021, right? Everyone remembers this time. We saw a year pullback. And so we could see that again. It might not be a short pullback. The market has been recovering like crazy, really rapidly over the last 3-year period. And that's not always how it goes. So I wanted to voice that opinion and let you guys know. Does that change how I'm going to be investing? It does not. I still like the NASDAQ 100. It is still my favorite index. And I like the S&P 500 as well for a little bit of variability in my holdings, but there is a lot of crossover. So if you're really worried about the market overall and you want to diversify more, these 4 selections aren't necessarily going to be for you because, again, there is a lot of overlap. And we can actually scroll down here and see the overlap. NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Tesla, Meta, a lot of the biggest holdings are the same across both of these, which is unfortunate. I mean, NVIDIA, Apple, and Microsoft and Amazon are the top 4 for each of these, and they're pretty big when it comes to the weighing of how much is in these funds. So remember that. But long term, I think they will perform fine. That's just my opinion. It is not financial advice. So let's talk about my first two ETFs for this video, two that I buy no matter what the market does because I absolutely love the issuer. Now, I want to disclose I am in a current sponsorship with Neos. This is not a sponsored video. I'm just doing an update on what I'm buying more of as we've seen a pullback. So even with this slight pullback, I am planning on buying more of these four ETFs, starting off with QQQI and SPYI. Both have been phenomenal. They're both staples of my income portfolio. 12% distribution rate for SPYI, 16.62% 1-year total return. Now, the S&P is not always going to be as hot as it has been, so you can't expect a 16% return every year. But with income, with the distributions, if you're living off them, if you're reinvesting them like I am, I think it's a really solid way to build your dividend snowball. QQQI, a little bit higher implied volatility, a little bit higher distribution rate, 14% distribution rate, 1-year total return of 18.6%. Again, the NASDAQ has had a rough start to the year. It's not likely that we'll see a 19% return from QQQI in 2026. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Either way, I'm buying when I do see some dips. I don't reinvest my dividends immediately. What I do now is I collect cash, I build a cash position, and when things drop and they're at a price value where I see that it's worth holding and it fits my investment profile, I buy them. And it's as simple as that. So that's why I'm actually making this video. So QQQI, SPYI, two that you were probably well aware of and you figured would be in this video. But now let's talk about two new ones that I'm looking at buying. I don't hold them currently, but in this market, I think there's a lot of potential for these two ETFs. The next two ETFs are GPIQ and GPIX by Goldman Sachs. And I did a video recently on these because GPIQ became the best performer in terms of NASDAQ ETFs, right behind QDVO, which I missed at the time. But I like both of these, and they're different than the Neos funds because they have more growth to them. And what that means is Neos is using a synthetic covered call strategy. GPIQ, they don't write their options on 100% of the portfolio. They actually vary it depending on what the market is doing. So in a down market or in a sideways market, they will use more of the portfolio to generate income. And in a bullish market, they will use less because you get more exposure to the upside performance of the underlying NASDAQ and S&P 500. So they are different in how they function. And we could even throw in a few more ETFs in here, like maybe some 0DTEs by Tap Alpha. But I want a little bit more trading time for TDAQ in comparison to these. So I am really happy with the performance of all of these so far. And in different markets, they perform differently. So if you're just going to hold one, that's totally all right. If you want some diversification like I'm looking for, you can hold a clump of each. And then no matter what the market is doing, you'll have one that is outperforming. And that is my goal moving forward. I want to be more diversified and not relying on just one issuer, even though I do absolutely love the Neos ETFs. And they are still going to be the largest portion of my income portfolio. So GPIQ, GPIX, they're the same. They're structured the same as each other, of course, and they're separate from the Neos ETFs. And that's why I believe long-term that they will do well, especially if we're in a sideways market and they're able to up the amount that they're writing on the options to generate income. If we do see a nice run in the market, they could underperform Neos. They have in the past, but you never know. We don't know what kind of market we're going to see over the span of 2026 and into 2027. And either way, like I said, I'll be reinvesting my dividends, whether we're going down, whether we're going up. And I'm really excited to add these to my portfolio. Now, when it comes to these ETFs, they do have some big differences that you need to know about. Neos has a higher expense ratio, more than double that of Goldman Sachs. It's 0.68% for each of their ETFs. And for GIPQ, or each of the ETFs in this video, I should say, GIPQ, 0.29 for both of their ETFs that are featured in this video. Now, AUM is pretty interesting. QQQI, 9 billion, GIPQ, 3 billion, SPYI, 8 billion, and GPIX, 3.2 billion. What's funny is the NASDAQ fund for Neos is larger than the S&P 500 fund, but the S&P fund for Goldman is larger than it is for the NASDAQ fund. Something a little bit interesting there. When we scroll down, we can see the price return. Now, price return is important because we don't want NAV erosion, and we can see that there is no NAV erosion with these funds. They have been doing exceptionally well over the last year. Year to date, they're a little bit more beat up, but that's okay. We've seen the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 pull back. And I have to reiterate this, whether you're new to investing, not new to investing, if the underlying is down, even if these are producing income, they will see a pullback in their price. It's the function of these options. Any exposure they have to it, you're going to see a pullback in the NAV. Another thing that's very, very important is if you want to see my full portfolio of these ETFs that I like to buy and hold for the long term, you can use the link in the pinned comment to download Blossom. It is totally free, and it's a really cool social investing app that has really been taking off recently. Now, when we flip this and we go to total return, we will see some pretty phenomenal performances. And mind you, this was right before the really crazy crash that we saw in the beginning of 2025. But since then, the climb has been amazing. We have QQQI up 21.9% in second place, GPIQ in first place up 28.38%. SPYI up 17.88%, being the worst performer on this list, and GPIX up 18.46%. So an interesting spread. We have one really good one from Goldman Sachs. GPIX is still doing very solid. No complaints there. But SPYI has been a little bit lackluster. QQQI doing okay, but pretty far behind GPIQ. And that's because of the price exposure to the market that GPIQ and GPIX have. That's one of the main differences with these funds. There are different markets in which NEOS would severely outperform. And like we see here, different markets where GPIQ and GPIX would severely outperform. And that's why diversification is key. So I want to scroll down and show their yields. And I mean, you can always look at the analyst ratings. The yield is important to me. QQQI 14.5, GPIQ 10.4, SPYI 12.21, GPIX 8.5. And so we see lower yields from the Goldman products because of that exposure to the underlying market, more exposure, I should say, and higher yields for the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 from NEOS because they are using those synthetic long options. So it's very interesting, and we can even see that the 4-year average yield for all of these is a lot higher or a lot lower than it is right now, right? So QQQI is 4%, GPIQ 3%, SPYI 2%, and GPIX 2%. So yields are higher right now than they typically are, and the performance has just been absolutely amazing. But I want to know your opinions. Let me know in the comments if you like Goldman more than NEOS, if you like them both, if you think it's smart to be having a full portfolio to diversify for a booming market, for a sideways market, depending on your investment strategies. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching this video. I would love to hit 40,000 subscribers in 2026. So if you could help me out, don't forget to like the video and to subscribe so you see more content just like this. If you like this video, you're going to like these popping up on your screen. No NAV erosion ETFs that aren't based on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100.